Hi, you are listening to the Diary of a Medium, Stories from the Spirit World podcast. I'm your host, Ep3 psychic medium, spiritual mentor, and founder of the Modern Mediumship Academy. This podcast is for you if you have ever been curious about the spirit world, if you've had weird, unexplained experiences, or signs from the universe that you have dismissed but secretly you couldn't forget. Because mediumship isn't just for the chosen few, it's already within you, and it's time for you to claim your power. Welcome back to Diary of a Medium, Stories from the Spirit World. I'm Em, and today I want to talk about the question that I get all of the time: am I a medium? Now, honestly, I guess going back over my journey, this was something that I never even really thought about asking, am I a medium? Because I truly believed that only people born with mediumship gifts were actually mediums. I didn't realize that you could develop your own mediumship and that a lot of people actually do come into their abilities when they are older, generally through a big life event that happens, a loss or trauma in our life that has us have this awakening that there's more beyond the physical body. There's more beyond the physical or the 3D realm, as a lot of people might call it, and that there's something more than that out there. And it starts with that question: is there an afterlife? Is there a spirit world? Is there something that happens to us, when we leave our physical body? So if you've ever wondered whether, the strange feelings or the signs you notice, or maybe you have like this inner knowing or inner curiosity that you may be a psychic medium, you may have these abilities, you may want to explore them. What I do want you to know is that there is a timeline somewhere in your soul journey where you are already a psychic medium. So keep listening. This episode is for you if you're ever curious about the spirit world. Now, often this question does come from a place of curiosity, but also it can come from a little bit of fear as well. And especially if this goes against maybe your upbringing, like your cultural beliefs as well. So I've had so many people come into my programs and be my students and that I've spoken to that, have this cultural, barrier or it's not a barrier, it's like a cultural imbalance. They know that there's something going on. They know that they're experiencing things, but it also goes against what they have been taught. So maybe you've had some of these experiences, you can't explain a dream, maybe a visitation in a dream, songs that play at the right time that remind you of a loved one, or, you just know things. Maybe generally you're the person in your friend circle who everybody comes to because you just have really good advice. And often that advice that you're giving is a bit like, where did that come from? That kind of feeling. Sometimes when we're having these experiences, the doubt creeps in. Am I making this up? Am I going crazy? Am I actually experiencing these things? And especially after loss, because we're in that grief state of loss, and then we have this layering of what if I'm going mad. And I've had people share these experiences with me, some of them which I will be featuring on this podcast as well. So here's what I really want you to know about mediumship, right? It isn't about being special or chosen. It's not an exclusive club that you need to have the code word to be in. Mediumship's actually a natural ability and exists because we are all souls on the same level. Like we're all souls in a physical body. You know, maybe that lands with you, maybe that still feels a little bit sticky for you. But if our souls are energy and we can read energy, like, you know, if you are someone, if think about it now, like you might be someone that can walk into a room and immediately you feel the energy of, you know, where you're drawn to, the area you want to go to, or the energy of someone, like the energy might be really magnetic, so you're attracted to someone, you're drawn to them, or the energy might feel really unbalanced or sticky for you, so it's like, oh, that doesn't feel good, I'm avoiding that space, right? I'm avoiding that area. Some people feel like this about areas, like actual physical places as well as people, because we're just reading the energy, we're feeling, we experience the energy of the connection. And often this is, you know, when you are attracted to someone, you find, you know, your partner, it's an energetic attraction. Yes, you might like their features, they might have lovely eyes, but energetically the attraction has to be there, because that is not enough. A physical appearance, right? Our soul has to connect on some deeper level. And often that's not forever as well. Those things are also here to teach us, and we're learning lessons, and that's a whole nother podcast episode. So we'll not go down that rabbit hole right now. Okay? So I strongly believe that everybody has this ability to be a medium. You know, some people are strongly drawn to it, some maybe not so strongly, and some people will never awaken to it, and that's okay. That's their soul journey, all right? So they get to have their own experiences. So what is mediumship, and how would I know if I am a medium? So it's simply the ability to sense, to feel, to hear, to know, to communicate and share messages from spirit. And spirit communicate with us in the ways that we communicate with everybody in our everyday life. You know, we see things, we hear, we feel people's energy, as we just talked about. We have like a knowing, so that's like our inner intuition and knowing about something. You know, maybe you're talking to a friend and they're like, oh yeah, I'm all fine, and then you have this knowing that, yeah, there's something that is a little bit off, like I know that there's something that's not quite right. We have this more inner knowing. We also have the sense of like smell and taste. Like, you know, sometimes you might smell the perfume or aftershave of a loved one, or have like a taste of something that maybe they were known for. It could be their cooking, or, you know, it could be coffee. It could be anything really, but they're just some examples. So what is mediumship not? Okay, it's not fortune telling. It's not Hollywood drama. Like, I actually believed that I wasn't a medium because I didn't see dead people. Okay. And what I want you to know is most mediums, not all of them, but most mediums are not walking around seeing dead people everywhere. Why? Because it will be scary, right? We may sense that there's a loved one with a person if we're connected into the spirit world when we're talking to someone. But generally speaking, mediums are not actually physically seeing dead people with their external vision. That's not to say that they don't. And a lot of the time we think that because we watch the celebrity mediums, you don't have to physically be seeing, you know, spirits. Now, a lot of us do see them. When we are young, we've had experiences where, even if we don't remember, we've had experiences that have scared the absolute living daylights out of us, and we've gone, no thank you, I don't want any more of that. And then when we get to the point where we're developing our mediumship abilities, we're like, please, can I have that back? I'd really like that right now. So that's a fun fact. So if you're asking yourself, am I a medium? Chances are you already are, because it's in your awareness. You've thought about it, you're like interested, you're drawn. So there's that energy, as we talked about, right? You're drawn, you're curious, your energy is bringing you into that space to ask questions, to understand, to learn. So chances are in your timeline somewhere, there is already a version of you that is a psychic medium. Of course, we all have free will to make the choices to go down that path or not. Often though, when you're resisting, it will persist. What you resist will persist. And this certainly was on my journey. I very much was like, I know that it's there, but I'm not ready. I know that it's there, but not yet. And every time I pushed spirit away and said, not yet, I'm not ready, the signs came back louder, the things came back stronger, all the weird stuff that happened to me ramped up and got freaking weirder. Know that spirit, if you are meant to be here, you are meant to do this work. Spirit is not gonna let you get away because they're like, she wants to work, we want to work with her, we want to work with him, like we want to bring all of the things. And certainly that has been my experience in my journey. Now, it might be a little bit more subtle for you. It might not be as loud. It might not be as in your face. It might be more gentle and subtle for you. And just remember, that's okay as well. You might just have small nudges, little things that are guiding you to a certain place or a certain person, or you're listening to a certain thing. Maybe you're here listening now and you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Just get a little bit curious. That's what I would recommend. Now, some of the common signs or some things that you might see to have you get curious. You may be in a room and you may feel an energy change in a room. Have you had that before where it's like someone walked in a room but you turn around and they're not there? Yeah? Had that before? Maybe you've had like dreams that feel like so real. So you wake up and it's almost like you physically have experienced this dream that you've just had in the physical body. So it might also be that you may hear like someone call your name, or maybe you hear a knock at the door and you go to the door and there's no one there. And like for sure you heard someone. This happened to me. I remember my husband was asleep in bed and I went to brush my teeth and I heard a knock on the bathroom door and I thought, oh, he must want to go to the bathroom. So I kind of opened the door to kind of say, hey, like just wait a moment, and opened the door and he was fast asleep in bed. Yeah. So you get maybe these nudges or flashes or insight that like turn out to be true later, almost like premonitions. You have this understanding that something's going to happen, the phone's going to ring, you receive this information prior to it happening. A lot of people have this when maybe they know someone is going to pass as well. They have this, knowing, and then they get the phone call, right? And it can also be you've just always felt a little bit different. You're probably someone that is complex through the layers. Often you can be the black sheep of the family, all right? The one that's a little bit different. You often could be someone who's gone through a really hard childhood, maybe experienced a lot of trauma through childhood as well. This is generally somebody who will awaken to their abilities because they have gone through certain experiences in their life. They've endured a lot. And so if any of these really resonate with you, maybe this is the whisper from spirit to say you are a psychic medium. There's something here for you to explore. So probably if you're here and you're asking yourself, it's just about really whether you want to develop it, right? Not everybody is going to go, I want to be a medium and I'm going to go into development. Like, I didn't think that would be the case for me. But mediumship, it is a little bit like a muscle, right? The more you practice, the more clear, confident everything becomes. Because even though I teach mediumship, I'm not really teaching you to be a medium because you're already a medium. What I'm doing is I'm helping you to understand and remember your mediumship, remembering who you are, and just helping you on that journey of support to awaken those abilities that are already inside of you. And to be honest, the reason why I started with mediumship development myself was because I started to have really profound experiences where I was getting spirit coming to me when I was in my day job, when I was working with people. I had an experience where I went for a massage and I had the grandma of the young girl who was massaging me talking to me the whole way through. So for me, it became a sense of something that was happening. I didn't know how to harness what was happening. And then I became very overwhelmed by all of the things that was happening. And I realized that I needed someone to really guide me to understand how I could have this work for me, how I was able to be a mom, be a wife, be a business owner, but also have this spiritual side that also I could find balance with. And that's a big thing with balance, right? A lot of people tell me that, you know, when they really have their mediumship ability switched on, that life outside becomes very overwhelming. They can't go to shopping centers. They can't go to events because it's overwhelming. The energy is too much. And I will talk about how we harness that energy definitely in another episode, because this is going to be really, really important for you. Otherwise, what happens? You self-isolate. And I have spoken to many people that this has happened to, because it's all become too much and then they isolate. And, you know, we don't want that. We don't want you to, you know, it's okay to have time out and space, but we don't want to have to isolate ourselves from our everyday life. We want to be able to, spirit want to be able to work with you, right? It's a 50-50 exchange, and we in spirit are not in charge of you. So we want to be able to harness the mediumship to have that balance between, you know, what we have to do in our everyday life, but also to embrace and discover and uncover this other side, this beautiful side to us that we can tap into. So thank you so much for listening today. And if this spoke to you, please hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and share it with someone else if you think that it's valuable to them. And if there's anything else that you would like to hear me talk about on this podcast, reach out to me. So until next time, remember, spirit is here. They're closer than you think, and you are a medium. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to Diary of a Medium, Stories from the Spirit World. If something in today's episode has sparked something within you and you are curious about your own spiritual gifts, then check out my website on how I can support you. If you have your own story to share, then please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to support me, you can subscribe, leave a review, or simply share this with a friend. So until next time, trust yourself, trust spirit, and keep listening to the whispers from the universe. Bye for now.